Hello to the vinyl community out there, and anyone else who has stumbled upon this video by accident. I'm truly sorry. Hi, Hedley here, another fat bearded man talking about records. That's how it has to be said, in a slightly depressing way. I want to thank you all for the last video I posted. It didn't have any records on it, it was all CD singles. I know this is the vinyl community, so you humoured me, and I thank you for that. I was a bit depressed, I was a bit down, and actually, I apologise for that. I'm more an upbeat kind of person. I like to think that when I do these videos, they are upbeat, and they're all about the love of the music, not the depressing nature of formats. Anyway, I want to thank the people that watched it. It's crept up to about 100 views, which is amazing considering it is only a CD singles. And I want to thank Vinyl Richie, Gregory Short at popcrackle.com, James Griffiths, Fat City Vinyl, Harmless Rebel, Vinyl Hysteria, MC Pop, or are they Scottish and it's Muck Pop? I don't know. And the Vinyl Potato for writing comments, offering me help, advice, counselling. Thank you. Thank you for joining in with my breakdown. I've taken on board a lot of what you said, and I'm a lot more positive. And well, thanks for watching. Anyway, this episode, that sounds a bit grand. I take that back. This video is going to be back to vinyl, back to some records, and actually there was a thread going on the Facebook group about somebody had found a picture of a shop that said it sold vinyls with an S, vinyls, and everyone was getting very, very angry and uppity about people calling them vinyls, saying vinyl is the plural of vinyl. Thou shalt not say vinyls. Anyway, it was really interesting because just the other day I'd read an article that somebody had posted on Pitchfork or somewhere about David Bowie. And he called his records vinyls. So if it's good enough for Bowie, hey. Right, so these are a bunch of records I've picked up over the last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. I stopped off at my favourite record store in Huddersfield, Vinyl Tap, and they had put down the records that they had. They've got a huge selection of second-hand. Oh, I say second-hand, I've actually picked up quite a few sealed records from them, so I suppose they're just older records. They were selling them all at like £2 a piece, and they've put them down to £1 a piece. I think the problem is they're trying to get rid of loads of them, so it might not be so much of a treasure trove when I go there in the future. However, I probably have picked out most of the things I wanted, but I was still picking out stuff, and £1 a piece, I couldn't go wrong. Some of these also come from some other places, but you don't need to know that. So let's start. That was a very long beginning. I was supposed to try and do this really fast. I will try and do it fast from now. I've got 12 records, and I will try and do them as fast as I can. Okay, so first one, The Grassroots, Move Along. Now I picked this up. I didn't really know anything about this band. I picked it up because it looked like a kind of a country rock. It was from 1972 on the Dunhill ABC label, and it with the sepia kind of tones there. I thought, yeah, that's got to be country rock. Well, it isn't at all. And I've done a little bit of research, and the Grassroots were the brainchild of P.S. Sloan and Steve Barry, who were kind of like the Goffin and King, Lennon and McCartney, Baccarat and David of Sunshine Pop, Psych Pop in the late 60s or mid to late 60s. And when I looked and I saw some of the album covers for the Grassroots, I did recognise some of them. I have seen them, perhaps even been shown on the vinyl community. But And so this is kind of a later kind of version of that Sunshine Pop. And to be honest with you, it's okay, but it sounds a bit dated. The kind of the songwriting, the kind of the form of the songs sound very much like those 60s stuff, but it's in the 70s now, and it sounds a little bit dated. There's the band, and it is actually produced by Steve Barry, because I understand that P.S. Sloan and Steve Barry had left the band by this point. Anyway, there you go. Not bad. Some nice horns and stuff like that. Sunshiny Pop. Here we've got, in a package, so it's the lights going everywhere. K.D. Lang, Shadowland, or as it's called, the Owen Bradley Sessions. There she is on the back with Owen Bradley. This is a lovely album. It's not in the greatest of conditions. I gave it a good clean, and it seems to be getting better with each play. Actually, I think the needle seems to shift a bit of all the grime from time to time. So this is K.D. Lang teaming up with Owen Bradley, who was one of the big names in sort of the countrypolitan Nashville sound. Produced Loretta Lynn, produced Patsy Cline. He produced Crazy for her, and I think Walking After Midnight. And this is K.D. Lang teaming up with him to try and produce something that harks back to those days. And it's a pretty nice album. So really pleased to get hold of that. I might try and seek out a better copy. Todd Rundgren, a cappella. Todd Rundgren is one of those people that they sort of, for me, they're always on the periphery of pop and rock world, and I don't know a huge amount about him. I know his connections with the Beach Boys and things like that. Have I got that right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And this is an album of his from... I'll have put it at the bottom here so it doesn't really matter. And as the album title says, a cappella, as we all know, that means it's just sort of solo voice. And it starts really well. It keeps to that, and it's, he's layering voices. He's kind of like starting doing the bass and some noises to kind of add percussion, and then layering stuff on top of it. And there's a great track called Johnny Jingo, which is a kind of almost Western kind of thing. Heaven forbid I like a Western song. And he kind of seems to lose a little bit of his gumption, and actually starts to put synthesizers and some drum machines and sort of things in there. But I really like it. It's a quirky album worth seeking out and listening to. I love the cover of this album. This is Blue Haze Folk Band with Joe Edwards, and I think it's called Square Dance Volume 1, and I love that cover. I can't believe a kind of sort of a square dance band, bluegrassy sounding, has a kind of a 1960s jazz style album. I think it's wonderful. I really like that album. It's just straight ahead, sort of country tunes, really, played on fiddles and old-timey music. Very nice. I'm going to have to see if there's a volume 2, see what the cover of that looks like. Charlie Rich, Fully Realised. This is a double album, and double album for £1. I wasn't quite sure what to expect with this. Charlie Rich has a kind of very diverse catalogue of material. You've got his sort of 70s Nashville sound stuff, Behind Closed Doors, Most Beautiful Girl in the World, and as much as I like those, you've also got, he started in the Sun Records, sort of R&B kind of stuff, and this, I understand, is a compilation of 2 albums that he did for Smash Records in the mid-60s. and this really surprised me. I thought I'd get some kind of slightly plodding kind of country on piano and things like that. No. This is the find of certainly of this lot. I'm blown away by this. It's really killer sort of R&B country tinged tunes. A lot of them almost sound like you could dance to them at a Northern Soul night. They are absolutely superb. So yeah, if anyone out there wants to listen to it, the Smash Records records of his label, records he did, records label, Smash Records label, sorry, just kind of shut down there. Yeah, so Charlie Rich, brilliant stuff. In fact, if you like a bit of Elvis, check him out, because it's some of the stuff that Elvis would kind of replicate a bit later on. Marshall Crenshaw, I think this is his first album from 1982. This was someone I picked up some kind of promo CDs years ago of his. I mean, he's not that well known in the UK. Maybe because he's a bit too much of a knockoff of Elvis Costello. I mean, look at him there. Look at him. He's kind of going for that real feel. We've got this sort of Art Deco look to the album sleeve. Nice sleeve though. And this, yeah, I picked up a kind of a promo best of sort of white label CD thing, and really liked him. And There She Goes Again is the first track on here, and that was one of the ones I recognised from this. It doesn't have, unfortunately, it doesn't have my favourite track by Marshall Crenshaw, which is I'm Sorry, but so's Brenda Lee, and I love that. Nice. I mean, it's that humour, that sort of I think it's New York. Yeah, well, it's recorded in New York. Sort of New York sort of humour. If you like Elvis Costello, like a bit of Nick Lowe, he's worth checking out. Kind of like an American version of them. Anyway, glad to pick that up. Conway Twitty, you've never been this far before. I'd actually avoided Conway Twitty for a while because of sort of what he looked like, what I thought he was like, and actually I was completely wrong. I heard I had to buy a record that he recorded with Loretta Lynn for a track called Wild Mountain Berries, which is a cover version of a kind of an R&B song, and it is an absolute stormer. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Wild Mountain Berries by Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn. Anyway, doesn't he have the greatest hair? He reminds me. Did anyone watch The Sopranos? What about Paulie Walnuts? Definitely Paulie Walnuts. Hopefully he's a bit nicer than him. Anyway, nice album. Sort of halfway between the sort of Countrypolitan sound and honky tonk sound. Yeah. Many of them written by him. Above and Beyond, Harlan Howard. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It's a nice album. More country. Bobby Bear, Down and Dirty. Look at him having fun. Now, this is a live album from 1980 or 79, I think. And yeah, Bobby Bear, some of his stuff's a bit, not really. His 80s stuff is not really up my street. But this is a very nice album. Clearly, he was a great live act, and I think this is what this album does. It sort of replicates that feel of going to a Bobby Bear show. Really good sounding album. We've got a lot of Shel Silverstein songs on here, which famously he wrote what's it called? Boy Named Sue. Johnny Cash did. I picked one of the reasons I picked this up. It's got Tecumseh Valley by Townes Van Sant on it. So I picked that up to see what it's like. And yeah, great album. Really nice live country album. Now this was a bit of a speculative one. This is Leon Sash, I remember Newport, and he is a jazz accordionist. There aren't many of them, probably for a reason. And actually, one of the reasons I picked this up, this is on the Delmark label, not heard of them before, is that it says on the back, I don't know if you can see that, on bass, it says it's got Lee Morgan on bass. Now I've heard of Lee Morgan, is that a Sidewinder? Is that Lee Morgan? I think I got an album of his on CD on Blue Note. So I thought, yeah, but isn't Lee Morgan, he's not a bass player. But I'll get it, I'll see what it's like. And I got this, I started to do a bit of research, and Lee Morgan apparently is the wife of Leon Sash, I think. Don't quote me on that. Yes, that's right. And Miss Morgan does all of the titles and lyrics for Leon's compositions. Her bass playing is strong, in tune, and perfect in time and choice of notes. Well, that's a bass player. That's what they have to do. Anyway, I should have read that really, shouldn't I? So yeah, interesting accordion trio, jazz trio. Leon Sash. A couple more to go. 16 Tons, another favourites by Tennessee, Ernie Ford. Love this. It's on the Capitol label. If you haven't got 16 Tons, Shotgun Boogie, Mule Train, you need them. Lovely. It's that kind of 50s country boogie which came out of the 40s really. Yeah, I like a bit of country boogie. Other end of the spectrum, well not quite the other end of the spectrum, Highway 101. Now, I picked this up speculatively. Again, I had heard of them. I understand, you can tell this is sort of 80s now. I did think there was a connection with Carleen Carter with this. Maybe it was just that the lead singer looks a little bit like Carleen Carter, in that she's female and has hair. Yeah, so nothing really led me to believe that. But it's alright, this. I've been trying to find out a little bit more about 80s country, because it's kind of an area that I don't know a huge amount about. And so this was one I picked up. It's you can tell actually that this is what round the corner into the 90s would be sort of some kind of nasty hat acts and things like that. But at this stage, it sounds pretty good. It's a bit more rocky, but still has an element of kind of honky-tonk country sound to it. Not bad at all. Second album from them, number 2. It's called. Okay, last record. This is called Saturday's Heroes, Sidekicks and Friends, and it's a compilation. Well, I say it's a compilation. It's kind of a very strange beast, is this? It's got Gene Autry, Jimmy Wakely, Tex Ritter, Merle Travis, Johnny Bond, so singing cowboys type thing going on. And some of it seems to be recorded when this was released, which is probably feels like the early 70s. I might be wrong. And some of it's some of it's recorded around the time of this release, or for this release. Some of it is older recordings, and it's some great stuff. The track Saturday's Heroes by Jimmy Wakely is really nice, but it's got some of the strangest things on. Well, it's got a comedy skit with this guy called Pat Buttram, which I haven't heard of, Gene Autry and Johnny Bond. No. Well, I know that on the Opry and things like that, there was a big sort of comedy. Homer and Jethro would do stuff like that. So it does have a history, I suppose. But it's a bit weird, and they don't really work. Take me back to my boots and saddle. We'll rest at the end of the trail by Gene Autry. But it's got the weirdest thing. It's got an interview between Jimmy Wakely and Tex Ritter on here, and It's really nice. It starts with Tex Ritter singing "Do Not Forsake Me," from High Noon, sort of in the background, a cappella, like Todd Rundgren, and Jimmy Wakely kind of bigging him up, saying how great he is, and then he starts to interview him, and he says, "So the last time I saw you was in the street. You were riding that beautiful horse, the White Flash. How is that horse? Where is he now?" and Tex Ritter says, "Well, I had him destroyed 4 years ago." That's how you know these guys are real cowboys. No sentimentality at all. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the Lone Ranger saying, "Yeah, well, Silver, had her destroyed." Was it a her? Anyway. Yeah, and the childishness in me comes out on the Merle Travis track called Follow Through, which has a lovely kind of scatological humour to it. And I can't listen to it in any other way now. Anyway, Cowboys singing, always good. That's going to my Singing Cowboys collection, which is getting bigger and bigger. Right, thank you very much. That's it. I'll be back with the second part of this to show some more stuff. So that wasn't quite as short as I was hoping it would be. But thank you very much. I've been another fat bearded man talking about records. Bye bye.